WAVS 1170 AM, Davie, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami.
My dream, my dream, my dream.
Hi, this is Mikey B. Join me every Tuesday from 3 to 6 p.m., Wednesday from 7 to 8, Friday from 7 to 8, Saturday from 7 to 8, Sunday from 5 to 6 for the best variety of music, news, information. And don't forget the Mikey B Top 10 chart on WAVS, WAVS1170.com, FutureMovementRadio.net, MelloRadio.com, New York City, and 1420, 1430 AMs and Ante GA. Join me, won't you?
Are you among the millions of Americans living with chronic pain? If so, you may think prescription opioids are the solution. Truth is, opioids only mask the pain, and they come with serious side effects, from nausea to withdrawal symptoms to overdose. There is another choice: physical therapy. Physical therapists treat pain through movement and exercise. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com. This public service announcement is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
This is Kashif Lindo. You're tuned in to WAVS 1170 AM.
The following is an independently produced program. The views expressed within are not necessarily the views of WAVS Radio, its staff, or management, but are strictly those of the hosts, guests, and callers.
Waves 1170.
1170 AM. It's Sunday night in the Caribbean, man. Hubert McIntosh is a member of the Society for Financial Awareness, and he's the man.
Financial literacy provided by Hubert McIntosh,
CPA.
Financial literacy. Control your financial status.
Here's your host, Hubert McIntosh, CPA.
Good night, good night. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a wonderful Sunday evening as usual. This is Financial Literacy coming to you. We should be live tonight on WAVS1170.com. You can watch us live tonight, and you can also listen to us on the app. So we're here every Sunday night at 9 p.m. until 10 p.m. So, and we have a website that has been set up, financialliteracy.info, financialliteracy.info. I'm Hubert McIntosh, your CPA, and your member of SOFA. SOFA is the Society for Financial Awareness. SOFA's goal and mission is to help eradicate financial literacy in the U.S., one community at a time, and we're starting with this community. The phone lines are open, 954-792-1170, 954-792-1170. So we thank you for joining us tonight again. So we have gone, since the beginning of the year, we're taking you through a lifetime capital potential where we're developing your personal economic model. And in previous shows, we have spoken about mortgages, we have spoken about taxes, college planning. Last week, we spoke about qualified plans. And we stirred up some stuff last week where we got some calls with some comments. We got comments on the website. And in tune with that, we are continuing to provide financial literacy. And in providing financial literacy, from time to time, there are going to be topics, maybe considered controversial, but not necessarily controversial in the sense of being negative, but in the sense that it's stuff that you may not have heard about, or it may contradict what you have heard because you're getting a different flavor and you're getting a different view. And tonight's topic is one of those. Tonight's topic, if you have seen, we have posted it over the media pages. It's on Facebook, it's on Twitter. If you have joined us, you can go on the website. You can link to us via Twitter, Facebook, and we have posted tonight's show. Tonight's show is life insurance, clearing up the confusion. Yes. There are a lot of confusion regarding life insurance. It's interesting that life insurance has so much confusion in comparison to the other insurance, whether it's automobile, mortgage insurance. So there are two factors. There are two factors you're dealing with when you're dealing with life insurance. One of them we're going to deal with. The other one we don't have the qualification to deal with. One is the psychological effect, in the sense that someone may not want to discuss life insurance from a psychological standpoint, which your beliefs, someone may be scared to discuss life insurance because it has a death connotation to it and so forth. And that's a psychological thing that where each of you will have to deal with individually. We're not qualified to talk on the psychological part. So we're going to talk on the financial part, because we're qualified to talk on that. As a CPA and a financial advisor, I believe I can provide you with enough information so that you can do some research yourself and you can evaluate it from a financial standpoint. So this is in theme with the show, Financial Literacy. We're going to focus on the financial aspect of it and not the psychological aspect. Okay? Last week, we spoke about qualified plans. And in qualified plans, we spoke about 401k, 408A, 408B, which is IRAs. And you have traditional IRA, you have Roth IRA, you have 403B, you have 457. And all of those are qualified plans. But I introduced a couple of other sections of the Internal Revenue Code to you last week. I mentioned that I was going to talk more about them, Section 101 and Section 7702 of the Internal Revenue Code, which deals with other kind of retirement plans. And 7702 is one of those that deals with life insurance. But before going into anything, let's go into a little history. Last week, I gave you a brief history lesson. How did qualified plans came about? This country was founded in 1776. And in 1976, 200 years after this country was founded, qualified plans were introduced. And I gave you the history, what had happened then, where businesses were paying pension. Back then you had defined benefit. Defined benefit is where a company set aside a certain amount of money to pay the employees a retirement plan. So in the mid-70s, that was the most common. But what happened was that interest rates started to rise, and the lobbyists went to Congress and said, our employers are struggling and they're unable to maintain these pension plans. So what Congress did then and says, okay, all right, what can we do if we're going to do something to benefit the employers? Then we also have to somewhat balance it for the employees. So what happened, what was created then was IRA, was qualified plans, IRA, 401k, and so forth. And that was for the regular people. Yes, the regular people. It's not a derogatory statement. I'm saying the regular people, the middle class, the lower class. At that time, what was happening in the life insurance arena, there were two types of insurance. There were term insurance and there was permanent life insurance. In 1976, when qualified plans were introduced, an individual could have $1 million policy, and most of the money in that policy could be towards investment and a small portion towards life insurance itself. So say, for instance, someone was going to pay $1,000, just using for easy calculation, they could actually have $900 of it towards the investment part of it and $100 towards the insurance part. So what happened when qualified plans were introduced, then a conflict arose then. So let me share the numbers with you. The lines are open. 954-792-1170. 954-792-1170. We're here to take your calls. So if there are any questions prodding on your mind, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're here for you, whether it's a question or a comment, because we don't want to leave you hanging in the sense that we want to address your questions. So back to our little history lesson. I just think it's important that I give you this history lesson before we dive into it. So that was what was happening with insurance in 1976. Qualified plans came on board, and one of the encouragement, then Wall Street now took off because most qualified plans are invested in Wall Street, while insurance vehicles are not in Wall Street. So what happened then was, as the 70s finished and the early 80s started, there was not a lot of buying into qualified plans, because a lot of people who had the money, they were investing in insurance. So during the Ronald Reagan era, not to be political, but in the 80s there, in 1986 was one of the biggest tax overall in the United States. There was a Tax Reform Act in 1986. And out of 1986, there were two bills. One is called TAMRA and one is called DEFRA. TAMRA, and I won't bore you with the details on that, but just to let you know that TAMRA came about and DEFRA came about. What was the purpose of TAMRA? What was the purpose of DEFRA? What the government looked into was the fact that people were putting most of their money. That means that's the people who are investing. I'm not talking where someone was putting $4,000 or $5,000. I'm talking where someone is putting 20, 30, 40,000, whatever the case may be. And they were investing most of their money in life insurance. Yes, the same life insurance that sometimes it's a negative was one of the top investment vehicles. So what the government decided to do in 1986 was to say, well, we want to balance the playing field. So what we're going to do, we are going to put some limitations on life insurance investment. Yes, the government intervened and created something called a MEC. It's the abbreviation is MEC. It's considered Modified Endowment Contract. So stop and think about this for a minute. If the government intervened into making the maximum that you could put in life insurance, it's a question inquiring minds would ask. Why would the government be interested in the maximum amount someone can put in a life insurance? So that's your first triggering question for the mind tonight for you to think on, wondering about that. Because last week we spoke about the qualified plans where the government intervened and created qualified plans where qualified plans it's a defined contributory plan where the employees contribute. Prior to that, it was defined benefit where the employer was contributing. So anytime you see these tax reform or these changes, you have to stop and ask yourself, what are the underlying reasons? Because what is presented to you is not always so. So it's important for you to identify or to do some research to find out what are the goals. So we have come alongside you in providing financial literacy because we don't want, if you were in the dark before, we don't want you to stay in the dark. We are turning on the lights so that you can be literate about the decision making, so that you're aware of that and you're not making decisions unknowingly and unnecessarily. So thank you for joining us as we go further into it. So the clock on the wall is telling me that I have to go pay some bills. We're going to go to a short commercial break. So stick and stay with us. We'll be right back.
Lifeline Tax Incorporated for tax preparation and tax planning services. Lifeline prepares all forms of tax returns.
1040 personal, corporate S&C, partnership, trust returns,
and all other federal forms. Go to lifelinetax.com or call 561-244-0062.
Contact us to help you with your lifeline to a better tax future.
Go to lifelinetax.com or call 561-244-0062. Remap Accounting Firm offers a wide variety of affordable accounting and tax services. We can help you develop your budget and manage your cash flow. We help families and businesses save money on taxes. Listen to our satisfied customers.
It's good to know that the success of our business is important to Remap. We're confident that Remap sees us as more than just a client.
Contact us at remap.com or call 561-623-0241.
Since 1963, Macintosh Insurance has been proud to provide insurance and financial solutions to 1,300 people and businesses. Whether you're looking for life insurance coverage, health insurance, Medicare, legal insurance, long-term care, or annuities, Macintosh Insurance will remain committed to building a solid relationship with customers through practical solutions and unmatched service. To learn more about us, visit our website at MacintoshinSagency.com or give us a call, 561-300-2444. We'll talk to you soon.
In the aftermath of a disaster, victims want to get their lives back in order as soon as possible. But if your home has been damaged, the last thing you want is someone taking advantage of you. Contractors who show up right after a storm may be fraudsters, out to make a quick buck off of your insurance claim. They'll promise anything as long as they can get you to sign a contract and hand over a payment. Know who you're dealing with, and remember, if you didn't request it, reject it. To report fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB, a public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
For more than 30 years, Wealth Management and Distribution Group has been helping people save, grow, and protect their money. Wealth Management and Distribution Group was formed with the purpose of helping individuals, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to maximize their ROI by minimizing their tax liabilities. Protect your assets and the assets of your loved ones. Visit WMADG.com for more information. That's WMADG.com or give us a call at 954-701-4730.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. Well, the first quarter we went through and we spoke a little bit about the history. So I had to take you back. So, because sometimes it's necessary to know where we're coming from to help decide where we're going to go. So I wanted to give you that brief history lesson of how do we come about where we are now. And we were talking about life insurance. So we're going to dive into life insurance a bit here. Whereas, okay, so let's deal with one of the common misconceptions regarding life insurance. All right. I believe personally the life insurance industry has not done a very good job in educating people for whatever reason. Some may be, whereas some of the agents or some of the providers themselves probably needed education. And if someone is not educated properly regarding something, then the communication is that person is going to communicate what they know and not necessarily. So if that person is not very versed, then they're transferring their knowledge, which sometimes can be a challenge, So let's deal with one of the misconceptions. And you can ask yourself this. So as we go through this, ask yourself this. Take this quiz with us. Is life insurance a need, product, or a want? Stop and think about that. Is it a need or a want? And while you're thinking about that, let's address some of the other things that we deal with in life. All right, the car that we drive, is it a need product or a want product? In the sense that, all right, is the car that we driving closer to where we're just taking public transportation? Because if it's transportation we just need, then obviously we could take the bus, if that be so, or we could take the train or whatever the case. So is the car we drive a need or a want? So someone may choose to drive a particular car, a new car, whatever the type, Mercedes, whatever, BMW, Lexus, whatever car you choose, is that a need or a want? And only each of you can answer that yourself. All right. Let's look at the other one. The house that we live in. Is it a need or a want? You know, all right, do we choose to live in the projects, or do we choose to live in whatever whatever you choose to, wherever you choose to live? Is it a need or is it a want? So think about that again. The next question. The school we send our kids, is it a need or a want? Why is it that private school has increased so much? You have private school, you have charter schools, you have all this, but you still also have public schools. So why is it that a parent or parents will send their child to private school, and when you're choosing the school that you're going to send your children to, it becomes such a great research? Instead of when we were kids, basically, you know, we went to the school nearest to where we live. And ask yourself now, is that so anymore? Is it that someone choose to go to the school nearest to their home? No, people go into these great research, and sometimes their children goes to a school 20, 30 miles away from where they live. So the question is it need versus want? Okay, so if we're looking at these major things in life, and we're comparing whether needs versus want, let me come back to the question on the table, or let's deal with the elephant in the room. Life insurance. So the question is life insurance a need or a want product? When I first started in life insurance, one of the things that was taught to me, whereas we would have a document where we'll meet with a client and we will say, we're going to do a FNA. The FNA is called a financial needs analysis. So right away there, as agents, we're prepping the person, and we're going to say, okay, let's calculate your bills. Let's calculate your bills and your expenses, and we're going to calculate how much you need. So that's the question on the table. So let's go into the part where I was talking about now the history with the government now. All right. So we're going to go deep into life insurance, and we're going to talk about how is it built. All right. Life insurance has a minimum and a maximum. All right. Think about that for a minute. A minimum and a maximum. So you ask yourself, who sets the minimum? Who sets the minimum? The minimum is set by the insurance company. So I ran an illustration here, giving an example, because I like to use real numbers showing you. So say an individual is going to take out a policy with a death benefit of $529,645. The insurance company would set the minimum for that. In how they did that was to identify using their actuarial tables based on the person's age and to see how long the person is expected to live. And the insurance company will factor and says, well, based on such, if this person lived to that time, then this is what we're going to charge for that period of time. And then what they would do based on the policy, whether it's a 20-year, 30-year policy, then they would make an average. They would make an average and says, okay, this is the minimum amount we have to charge so that we can make a profit. Yes, the insurance company is there for a profit. Insurance companies are not non-profit organization. They are a profit organization. They're going to make a profit. But with that being said, there are also two types of insurance company. You have the stock company and you have the mutual company. The stock company is owned by stockholders. And a stockholder, the purpose of any company that has stockholders is that that company make the most profit possible, because you have to cater to your stockholders. So I want to give you the number again. The lines are open, 954-792-1170, 954-792-1170. We're here to take your calls. So as we go further, we spoke about the stock company. But you also now have the mutual company. A mutual company basically owned by the policy holders. Yes, they're in it not so much as for a profit incentive, but so that they can maximize the expenses that they have, in the sense that they can pay their staff, they can pay their management team and so forth. And sometimes to create a surplus, in the sense sometimes you look at it and it says, well, oh, but they're creating a surplus. Isn't that the same as a profit? And the answer is yes and no, in the sense, because that surplus is not necessarily being distributed to stockholders. It's staying within the company, and it's also enhancing the benefit that the insurance company may provide to its policy holders. So these are some of the factors that you have to look at in identifying how the minimum is created. So going on that same trend now, that same $529,000 policy, there is a maximum. There's a maximum that one can put in there, in the sense that, minimum death benefit, maximum cash value. These are some of the stuff that you look at. So that's same in a permanent policy, that same policy, which is at $1,198 for a 20-year term for a 45-year-old, would be $10,000. It's $10,000. So you ask yourself, why would someone pay $10,000 for something that they can basically pay $1,200 for? So if you just look at the numbers, it looks like it doesn't really make sense. But stop and think for a minute now. Because if the government made the maximum, but the life insurance made the minimum, and the minimum in all cases, or most cases, will be for a term policy. So this particular one, it's for a 20-year term. So if you take that 45-year-old person, they'll have a 20-year term, and if they die during that 20-year period, then their beneficiaries will get the $529,000. But let's stop and think for a minute. So what if the 20 years pass? That person is now 66. That insurance has ended. Think on that for a minute. But one of the flaw also in the life insurance industry is that depending on who's talking to you about it, you'll hear a terminology that says, all right, the policy is renewable up through age 95. So here's this 45-year-old person, buys a 20-year term, but it was communicated to him that the policy is renewable up to age 95. And he's thinking in his mind that this policy, this 20-year term that he bought at age 45, is renewable up to age 95. So I'm here to tell you that's partially true, but it's not fully true. Because after the 20 years, after paying $1,200 a year for 20 years, if that same person is going to renew that policy at age 66 in the 21st year, that same coverage of $529,000 is now $16,000. Wow. But this person was told that it was renewable up through age 95. But now he gets to age 21, year 21, and he's getting a letter from the insurance company that if he wants to renew, then he has to send in a check for $16,452. So obviously now, so this person is now confused because they were told by the agent that it was renewable up to age 95, and now they're getting this bill from the insurance company. You know, so this clock is just flying, as I said, like a jackrabbit. We're going to come back, stick and stay with us. We're going to go and we're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for an accounting firm that you can trust? One with a client-first philosophy? Well, don't worry. Every little thing is going to be all right. For the dedication to professionalism, responsiveness, and quality, REMAP offers a variety of services, from bookkeeping and tax preparation to payroll services, IRS problem resolution, and retirement planning. Don't play games when it comes to your money. Go online and search remap.com. That's RE-MMAP.com, or call us at 561-623-0241. For more than 30 years, Wealth Management and Distribution Group has been helping people save, grow, and protect their money. Wealth Management and Distribution Group was formed with the purpose of helping individuals, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to maximize their ROI by minimizing their tax liabilities. Protect your assets and the assets of your loved ones. Visit WMADG.com for more information. That's WMADG.com, or give us a call at 954-701-4730.
You know what really gets a party started? Indoor baseball. Yeah, just find a broom or a pool cue, and you can use like anything as a ball. Cans, bottles, shoes.
Hey bro, toss me that avocado.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Get up with Lifeline Tax Incorporated for tax preparation and tax planning services. Lifeline prepares all forms of tax returns.
1040 personal, corporate S&C, partnership, trust returns,
and all other federal forms. Go to lifelinetax.com or call 561-244-0062.
Contact us to help you with your lifeline to a better tax future.
Go to lifelinetax.com or call 561-244-0062. Meet Bob.
Hello, everyone.
Bob searched and searched for insurance, but grew frustrated with the high number of options.
Oh, no. What am I going to do?
Then Bob contacted the McIntosh Insurance Agency.
Bingo!
The McIntosh Insurance Agency helped Bob get affordable insurance that fit his unique needs.
Oh, I'm happy I found this guy.
Be like Bob. Go to McIntoshinsuranceAgency.com or give them a call at 561-300-2444.
You won't be sorry.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. The time is just flying. I have so much to share with you. I think we may have to do a part 2. So we're going to make this life insurance part 1, and next week we're going to make life insurance part 2 to achieve 2 things there where you can put in your questions, you can put in your comments. You know, I just got a posting from the website where a listener says, well, it's just showing that he's closing the loophole to regain control. And we're going to talk about that. It seems like he was looking at my notes. It's one of the stuff we're going to be talking about, the benefits. So we have cleared up. We have shared a little history with you. We have shared up one of the misconceptions regarding the cost and with the confusion where regarding term policies versus permanent policies where someone will take out a 20-year term and then they'll say, well, it's renewable through 95, and then to find out in year 21 that it's not so. Okay? All right. There's one other thing I want to point out with that. There is a common terminology out there, and I believe I have to address it. I won't call the company name, but there are a couple of companies that and you have a couple of advisors like myself believe in this principle where they'll say, well, buy term and invest the difference. And when you stop and you think about this, whereas you're saying, okay, you buy term and invest the difference, that is coming from a concept, whereas in the late 70s, that came out about, and it was very popular, buying term and creating and basically investing the difference. And back then, yes, it was great, but just like things in life, insurance companies have evolved. Companies that are moving with the times evolve. Whereas, if you go back, even looking at computers right now, if we talk about computers now or even phones, there was no phone back in the early 80s. There was no cell phones. Now we have cell phones. And if you even look at a cell phone back in 1986 to now, where back then, you have a SMR phone. You didn't even have cellular phone. You had cellular phone. You had that Motorola brick phone, and that phone was to make calls and to receive calls. But time has evolved. Now the cell phone now is not just a phone. It's a smartphone where the phone is necessarily a computer now. You have a little phone in your hand, and that is such a powerful computer. Well, it's the same thing how life insurance has evolved, in the sense you have to ask yourself, do you have the whole insurance or do you have the smart insurance? Yes, you have old insurance and you have smart insurance. So you have to think about those things, as whereas the message that was there in 1980, is it the same message as there for 2017? Because things have evolved, time has evolved. So I just wanted to deal with that also, where it says buy term, invest the difference. Because if you tell that same 45-year-old or that 40-year-old buy term, you have some companies now where the maximum term is 35 years. So you tell that to a 40-year-old and that person buys it. Their insurance is expiring at 75. I was speaking with a friend of mine the other day who's basically of that persuasion, and his feeling was that, well, because the person has passed age 35 years now in the policy, his children are grown, so he doesn't need any insurance because the children can take care of themselves. And that's an example of whether you're dealing with a smart insurance or old. There was a concept once upon a time that life insurance was just for death benefit. But I'm here to tell you that life insurance is more than death benefit, and I'm going to share some of those things with you. Because even the very term policy that you heard me speak about earlier, a 20-year term, you have companies now that has term policies that has living benefits. So what do I mean when I say living benefits? Well, back to that same 45-year-old with a $529,000 death benefit. If that person was to get ill, whether it's going to be a chronic illness, a critical illness, a critical injury, a terminal illness, a lot of these, they can accelerate the death benefit. And the question you may ask, why would they want to accelerate the death benefit? A lot of people who sometimes get these major illness, they could have survived if they had the proper medical care. But because we have this misconception that the medical care is just the health insurance, and that's not necessary so, because for those of you who have dealt with anyone who's going through one of these major illness, whether it's cancer, whether it's heart attack, whether it's kidney failure or anything like that, that person cannot necessarily take care of themselves, and they need a caregiver. They need a caregiver. And so where it is, that person may need a 4-month or a 6-month treatment. Who is going to take care of them? Because that person would have to find somebody who's going to quit their job, leave their job for 4 or 6 months. Sometimes that's just not practical. But can you imagine if this person had access to such funds, they could have accelerated that benefit, and that caregiver, instead of that caregiver losing their job for 3 or 4 months, that person could have taken a family leave. They could take a family medical leave knowing that the person who needs the care will be paying them for it. So these are some of the factors that you have to look at. And that's just with a term policy, so these are benefits with a term policy. A lot of times people will not buy it because they'll say, well, it's just to benefit the beneficiary. No, that's the old life insurance. You have insurance now with living benefits. So I would encourage you to explore that. Look at your policy, call up your company, find out what additional benefits that my policy has. If your policy only has a death benefit, I would encourage you to do some exploration because there are better policies out there. You don't want just a policy that has a death benefit. It's like even taking cars. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but most cars now, I can't tell when last I've seen a car where you roll up the windows. I don't see cars anymore where you take the handle and roll up the windows, I'm not saying it's not there, but I just haven't seen any. All cars now I see, it's automatic window roll up. You press the button and the window goes up. Even the seat, you press the button and move the seat. So these are things where I'm saying life has evolved. So if you're still stuck in 30 years ago or 40 years ago, you need to evaluate your thinking, and we were even talking about computers earlier. 30 years ago, when you say computer, one word came to your mind, IBM. IBM came to your mind 30 years ago. And I challenge any of you out there listening, when last have you even heard the name IBM? When last have you heard the name IBM? You're now hearing about Android and iNetwork, iPhone, Microsoft, Apple. Microsoft and Apple. 30 years ago, there was no Microsoft and Apple. It was IBM. So if you want to maintain that and says, well, I'm not going to change, I'm just going to stay with my IBM. I remember back then there was typewriters. You had a typewriter back then. It was the most powerful thing. It was called an IBM Selectrix. Can you imagine you trying to type something now and you use an IBM Selectrix? You'd be laughed out of the room. You would be so laughed out of the room because word processors, they're not even word processors now. It's Microsoft Word, it's have Apple, you have Google Sheets, you have Google Docs. So what I'm trying to say to you, showing you these things. So and I introduced a term to you last week, that if what you thought to be true is not so, when would you want to know? It's a thought that you have to think of. So because this is what you knew back then, it doesn't mean that's what it is now. So I don't know if I am shocking you guys too much, but the phone lines are not ringing. We're getting comments on the website, but the phone lines are not ringing. The phone lines are open, 954-792-1170, 954-792-1170. So we have gone into the history, we have gone into the misperceptions, and we have cleared up some of the misperceptions. And as I said, there was so much material to share with you. So in the fourth quarter, we're going to go into where we're going to start the comparisons so that you can start seeing where we're going to address some of the benefits. Okay? So stick and stay with us. We got to go and pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Bob searched and searched for insurance, but grew frustrated with the high number of options.
Oh no, what am I gonna do?
Then Bob contacted the McIntosh Insurance Agency.
Bingo!
The McIntosh Insurance Agency helped Bob get affordable insurance that fit his unique needs.
Oh, I'm happy I found this guy.
Be like Bob. Go to McIntoshinsuranceAgency.com or give them a call at 561-300-2444.
You won't be sorry.
Would you like your business to maximize its return on investments? Then contact Wealth Management and Distribution Group. Wealth Management and Distribution Group will help you minimize your tax liabilities. It doesn't matter if you're an individual, an entrepreneur, or a small business. Protect your assets for you and your loved ones. Maximize your return on investment with Wealth Management and Distribution Group. Get more information at WMADG.com or call 954-701-4730.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Are you looking for an accounting firm that you can trust? One with a client-first philosophy? Well, don't worry. Every little thing is going to be all right. For the dedication to professionalism, responsiveness, and quality, REMAP offers a variety of services, from bookkeeping and tax preparation to payroll services, IRS problem resolution, and retirement planning. Don't play games when it comes to your money. Go online and search remap.com. That's RE-MMAP.com, or call us at 561-623-0241.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. You know, we continue. We are now down in the home stretch. We're in the final quarter. But as I said, this is part one because there's so much to share with you that we're going to continue next week with part two. So you'll have time to take notes and have your questions and do your research. You can do your research and you can send your comments via email, or the email is support@financialliteracy.info, support@financialliteracy.info. We have the website, financialliteracy.info. You can make comments, and then we will address them. I understand that we have a caller on the line. Caller?
Hi, good night, Mr. McIntosh. My name is Judy, and the great stuff that you're talking about, and you're so right in using the analogy with where we are now and to get with the times and see all the benefits with insurance. I wanted to ask you, though, you're mentioning a lot about the term life insurance. You haven't said anything about whole life insurance. Are you going to discuss whole life in another later on?
This is what that's a great anticipated question. That is what we're going to start with now in the fourth quarter here now. I'm going to go into permanent life insurance and give a couple comparison with qualified plans. We're going to introduce it, but next week we won't have enough time to dive into it, but we're going to introduce it tonight, and then next week we're going to continue it. So that's a great anticipatory question, but I just wanted to give an history of where we are and to clear up certain misperceptions and confusion out there. But that's a great question. So we'll be talking about permanent insurance, which whole life is a part of that. So I thank you for that question. Any other question on your mind?
Oh, no, great stuff. I have the whole life insurance with the cash value, and that's something also. I just wanted to get your professional input on your recommendation for that type of policy. But I'm listening and anxious to hear your input on it. Thank you, Mr. McIntosh.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your call. So great. Well, I just want to thank that caller. It just shows, and I thank you guys, it just shows that you guys are listening in the sense that people are listening, and it makes us knowing that our purpose is being achieved. And as I said, one listener had mentioned that they are working on closing the loophole to regain control. And here this caller mentioned that she has a whole life policy. We're going to dive into that, but we're going to introduce that this in this last quarter, but we're not going to get to do much justice in it. So we will be continuing that next week in part 2. But I want to introduce that, but I want to use it as a comparison, because the number one elephant in the room that we started talking about last week was qualified plans. And as I shared with you last week, there's nothing wrong with qualified plans. So I want to repeat that. Qualified plans are good for some things, and they're bad for some things, just like anything else in life. So our hope is to share with you the good and the bad. And let's remind you, qualified plans are IRAs, 408A, 408B. You have traditional IRA, you have Roth IRA, you have 401k, you have SEP IRA, you have 403B, which is for schools, non-profit organization. Then you have government organization, which has 403B and 457. So all of those plans that I just mentioned, IRA, 401k, SEP, IRA, 403B, every one of them give a particular benefit. That benefit is called tax deferred growth or tax postponed, as I introduced you last week, because people are saying that they're saving taxes. That is not true. You're not saving taxes in a qualified plan. You're deferring the taxes or you're postponing the taxes. But you're not just postponing the taxes. You're postponing the calculation. And I want to remind you of that because it's a great misconception where someone, and we use the example, we're going to use it like we shared last week. If you have $1,000 and you should have paid $300 in taxes because you were in a 30% tax bracket and you thought that you were saving $300, you are only deferring, you're postponing that $300, right? So, and the reasons people postpone, they says, well, my money is going to grow. Yes, that part right. But here's the challenge. Here's the part where sometimes we forget. If that $1,000 grow to $50,000 in 30 years, the tax that you thought you deferred, which was $300, you didn't defer $300. You defer 30%. So that $50,000 is now going to be calculated by 30%, and you'll have to pay the government $15,000 of something that you could have paid $300, but now you're finding yourself paying $15,000. But the bad part of that now is if the tax rate goes to 50%. If the tax rate goes to 50%, you're going to be paying 50% of that $50,000. So now you're paying $25,000 in taxes when you could have paid $300. So these are some of the things I want you to think about. All right, if I'm going to talk the bad, I better talk the good. If the tax rate drops from 30% to 10%, then wow, you won because you postpone tax to a lower tax bracket. But if you're sitting out there thinking that tax is going to go down, I don't know. It's a very challenging thing. I went through the tax history with you last week, and I shared with you how taxes have gone gone the history of taxes in America. We are sitting on one of the lowest tax bracket ever in this country. And I know sometimes it's hard for people to accept that, because when they see that, well, our highest corporate tax rate is 34.9 and for individual it's 39.9, it seems as if it's high. But the tax rate in this country, the highest it has ever been, is 93%. You know, we'll discuss the threshold and so forth, but I just want to remind you of that. So let's follow up with this IRA. So you have the traditional IRA, which is the brother to the 401k and so forth. But remember now, this thing came out in 1976, but 18 years later, in 1994, the government came up with something called a Roth IRA. Think about that for a minute. So here was the traditional IRA, which was a tax deferred, where basically your money would grow, and then when you're taking the distribution, you're going to be paying the taxes. So the Roth IRA came about where you don't get the deductible contribution, but as that money grows, you're going to get that money out tax-free with limitations, because you can open the Roth IRA and you can't just take your money out. You have these limitations. You have these 59 and a half years. You have these 5 years that you have to be contributing in it for 5 years. And then you cannot take out the principal. You can take out the principal after 5 years. But if there is growth, there are so many conditions. So I just want you to be aware of that. So I've shared with you some of the benefits of the qualified plans. I've shared with you some of the negatives. And we're going to compare them side by side, and we're going to talk to you about the life insurance. We're going to talk to you about permanent life insurance. There are different types of permanent life insurance, but we're not going to go into that tonight. We're going to go pick that up in part 2. We're going to leave you with a cliffhanger there, knowing that come next week, we're going to share with you some of the benefits of life insurance, the terms, some of the benefits of the permanent life insurance, and we are going to compare the permanent life insurance with the qualified plans. And remember, all of these things are under the Internal Revenue Code. It's not stories. You can go, and I'll give you the numbers. You can start checking them out so that you can start making your notes. 401k, it's a section of the code, the Internal Revenue Code. The IRA is a section of the code. It's 408A and 408B. Okay, you have the SEP IRA. It's still under the 408. You have 403B. You have 457. All of those are Internal Revenue Code. So next week, we're going to dive into permanent life insurance, which comes under Section 101 and Section 7702. So just prepare for us next week. We're going to go into make your comments on the website. The clock on the wall is telling me I got to get out of here. We're with you Sundays 9 to 10, but you have 24/7 access to us. Financialliteracy.info. Financialliteracy.info. You can email us, support@financialliteracy.info. So we want to thank you for joining us, and we got to go, and we will be back with you next week. Thank you very much.
Financial literacy with Hubert McIntosh on Waves 1170 has come to an end. Don't be mad.
She'll be back next week
on www.waves1170.com.